Gunther just did the unthinkable and WWE is trying to sweep it under the rug. Like and subscribe so you never miss a breaking story, because what happened after Raw went off the air is something that every single WWE fan needs to hear right now, and if you think what you saw on television was shocking, wait until you find out what went down behind closed curtains, because the real story is 10 times more explosive than anything that happened inside that ring. Let's set the scene. Raw was supposed to be a night of momentum, a night of building toward WrestleMania season, a night where the WWE Universe was meant to leave with smiles on their faces and fire in their hearts. Instead, Gunther, the cold, calculated, merciless ring general, decided that tonight was going to be his night. Not because he was scheduled for a match, not because someone stepped to him first, but because Gunther does what Gunther wants, when Gunther wants, and absolutely nobody in that locker room has the nerve to tell him otherwise. Seth Rollins was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or maybe, in Gunther's mind, exactly the right place. The assault was brutal. It wasn't a wrestling match. It wasn't a competitive exchange. It was a statement. Gunther dismantled Seth Rollins with the kind of cold-blooded precision that makes your skin crawl. He wasn't angry. He wasn't emotional. He was methodical, and that somehow makes it so much worse. An angry man attacks out of passion. But Gunther? Gunther attacked Seth Rollins because he chose to, because he decided, in his logical, calculating mind, that Seth Rollins needed to be made an example of. The arena went silent, the commentators scrambled for words, and the WWE Universe sat there, frozen, watching one of the most beloved and electrifying performers in the company today get absolutely destroyed in the middle of the ring with no warning and no justification. Referees rushed in, officials poured through the curtain, and by the time anyone could intervene meaningfully, the damage had already been done. How many times has Gunther successfully defended the Intercontinental Championship during his historic reign? Drop your answer below. Let's see who really knows their WWE history. Now here is where the story shifts completely, because while everyone was focused on Gunther walking away unbothered and untouched, while the medical team was checking on Seth Rollins, while the chaos was still echoing through the arena, Oba Femi was watching. And what happened next, backstage, after Raw went off the air, is something that nobody expected, least of all Seth Rollins himself. Oba Femi sought out Seth Rollins personally, not for the cameras, not for the social media clip, not to position himself as a babyface or to play politics. According to multiple backstage reports circulating within WWE insider circles, Oba Femi walked straight to the medical area where Seth Rollins was being evaluated and delivered a message that was described by those present as, and I want you to really absorb this word, heartfelt, genuine, real. Now let that sink in for a moment. Oba Femi, the dominant, physical, larger-than-life force of nature who has been dismantling everyone put in front of him like they were made of paper. The man who carries himself with this quiet, almost terrifying confidence. The next massive star in WWE that people have been buzzing about for months. That man walked up to Seth Rollins and delivered a moment of genuine human connection backstage. That's not the Oba Femi the WWE Universe has been watching destroy competition. That is a different dimension of this man entirely. What exactly did Oba Femi say? Sources close to the situation indicate that Oba Femi expressed his respect for Seth Rollins as a performer, as a locker room leader, and as someone who has given everything to this business. He reportedly told Rollins that what Gunther did was cowardly, that attacking a man the way Gunther did is not the behavior of a champion or a warrior, but of a man who is afraid of real competition. And he made it very clear that Gunther will answer for what he did. Think about what that means. Oba Femi just positioned himself as the man who will stand in the way of Gunther's destruction, not out of ego. Not because he was told to, but because he chose to. And when a man of Oba Femi's size, physical dominance, and rapidly growing reputation makes that kind of declaration backstage, privately, without cameras, you believe it on a different level than any scripted promo could ever manufacture. Seth Rollins, despite being in pain, despite being checked by medical staff, reportedly responded to Oba Femi with appreciation and a level of respect that those present described as genuinely moving. Seth Rollins has seen everything in this business. He has been at the top. He has been at the bottom. He has reinvented himself more times than anyone can count, and for a man like Seth Rollins to receive that kind of acknowledgement from the next generation, from someone like Oba Femi, is a moment that transcends the usual WWE narrative. But let's come back to Gunther, because none of this exists without understanding why Gunther attacked Seth Rollins in the first place. The ring general has been on a warpath that has nothing to do with championships or title defenses at this point. Gunther is building a legacy of dominance. He wants the entire WWE locker room to understand that he is not just a champion, he is a force. He wants everyone from the main event stars to the developmental prospects watching from the back to see what happens when you allow Gunther to exist in your orbit without respecting his presence. Seth Rollins, with his charisma, with his passionate fanbase, with his ability to steal any show on any night simply by breathing, represents everything that Gunther cannot tolerate. Because Gunther cannot control charisma. He cannot defeat personality with a submission hold. He cannot pin enthusiasm to the mat with a powerbomb, and that drives him absolutely insane. So what does the ring general do? He takes away the physical ability to perform. He sends a message that no matter how beloved you are, no matter how loud the crowd cheers for you, he can end your night whenever he decides to. Seth Rollins has held multiple championships throughout his WWE career, but which title has he held the most times? Answer in the comments and let's debate. Now the WWE Universe is left asking the biggest question of all, what happens next? Because Gunther cannot be allowed to continue doing this without consequence. There has to be a response. And with Oba Femi now publicly, or at least backstage within WWE circles, declaring his position against Gunther's actions, the pieces are falling into place for something massive. Imagine Oba Femi versus Gunther. Sit with that match for a second. Let that visual exist in your mind. The ring general versus the rising physical phenomenon. Experience versus raw dominance. Cold, calculated European superiority versus a force of nature that has never been stopped. That is not just a match, that is a collision. That is the kind of main event WrestleMania moment that WWE has been quietly building toward without making it obvious. And Seth Rollins in all of this. Seth Rollins does not go away quietly. He never has and he never will. Whatever Gunther did to him on Raw only guarantees one thing: Seth Rollins will come back with more energy, more fire, and more motivation than he came in with. Because that is who Seth Rollins is. He thrives when his back is against the wall. He needs the adversity to bring out the absolute best version of himself. Gunther may have just made the single biggest mistake of his 2026 WWE run by giving Seth Rollins a reason to become dangerous again. The aftermath of this Raw has the entire WWE locker room talking. It has fans online completely divided. Some people believe Gunther is simply doing what a top-tier villain should do, establishing dominance without apology. Others are furious, feeling like the attack crossed a line that demands immediate retribution. And then there are those who are fascinated by the Oba Femi development, because nobody predicted that the next chapter of this story would have his fingerprints all over it. One thing is absolutely certain: WWE just changed the landscape of Raw in a single night. Alliances are being tested, loyalties are being revealed, and the line between who stands for something and who simply stands for themselves is becoming brutally clear. Oba Femi chose a side tonight, not with a promo, not with a graphic on screen, but with a private, heartfelt message to a fallen warrior. That means more than anything a script could ever deliver. This story is only beginning, and Suplex Rumble will be right here to cover every single development as it happens. So make sure you are subscribed, make sure that notification bell is on, because when this situation explodes, and it will explode, you do not want to be the last person to know about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Who do you think Oba Femi goes after first, Gunther directly, or does he send a different kind of message first? And do you think Seth Rollins comes back more dangerous after this attack? Let's talk about it. The Suplex Rumble community has the hottest wrestling takes on YouTube. Prove it below. See you in the next one.